Hey guys. All right, so today we are going to talk about angle relationships. Yay! I know. It's not as exciting when I can't be in the classroom with you to torture your lives. Anyway, okay, so angle relationships. So, first of all, remembering that an angle is what the space is created when you have like two lines, right? So if you look over here, when we talk about angles, we are talking about the space that is in between this line right here and this line right here. So we would call this line maybe like line segment AB, this one or ray AB, this one ray BC. And our vertex, that corner piece, that's our angle, right? And we would usually call that angle B. Okay. So that's just like a quick refresher in case you forgot. No judgment. No judgment. That's why we're reviewing, right? Okay. So looking at angle relationships, just as a little bit of a refresher, when we talk about our relationships, it's when you're talking about two or more angles, when you put them together, what happens? So in a complementary relationship, that's when you combine two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. So in this example, we have one angle here that is 30 degrees. We have another angle here that is 60 degrees. Well, those two would be complementary because when you put them together, 30 and 60, the sum is equal to 90 degrees, right? It forms a right angle. That's usually our biggest clue that it's a complementary relationship. Okay, so supplementary angles. Those are two angles or more that combine to form a straight line, right? They are two angles or two or more angles that when you add up the measure of those angles, you get 180. So you have here one angle that's measures 120 degrees. This corner right here measures 120 degrees. This corner here measures 60 degrees. When you add these together, your sum is 180. And look, when you put these right next to each other, right? When you put this angle here next to this angle here, it forms this beautiful straight line. And that is a supplementary relationship. And I remember that because supplementary and straight both start with. Okay, so then we get to our vertical relationship, right? And this is by far like the easier one because you have two angles that are across from each other in an X. And what's awesome about this is they're congruent, they're equal to each other. So if you know the measure of this is 40, then you know the measure of this one is 40. Okay, they're like mirror images of each other. So that's our vertical angles. And then finally, you might have a relationship where you're seeing all of that put together, like your supplementary and your vertical put together, right? Your 126s are vertical because they are across from each other. Your 54s are vertical because they are across from each other. And you'll notice if you look at this here, this relationship between the 54 and the 126, it's supplementary. It adds to 180 because it forms this beautiful straight line when you put angle AEC, this 54-degree angle, and angle AED, this 126. When you put these together, you get this beautiful straight line. So you might see where it's supplementary and vertical kind of melded into one. All right, so let's look at an example. Move this over here. Okay, so when we're looking at complementary relationship, okay, you got to think, what do I know? Well, you need to remember that these have a complementary relationship. That means that they add to 90. So they add to 90. What equation can help us figure out this missing angle measurement? Well, I could set up the equation 40 plus my mystery number is equal to 90. Use inverse operations, subtract that 40 on both sides, and find that my mystery number must be 50. This angle here, this angle that we don't know, has to be 50 degrees because 50 plus 40 is equal to 90. So that's a complementary relationship. Supplementary relationship. Remember, two or more angles that combine. And what do they combine to do? They're making this straight line here. When you put these all together, you get this beautiful straight line. So we are remembering that these supplementary relationships mean that they're going to add to 180 degrees, right? It's going to mean that when you add these three angles together, you're going to end up with a sum of 180. So what equation can help us with that? Well, sum equals 180. So we're going to be adding. We're going to be adding these three different angles to get 180. And now look, right? And remember your algebra. What do you notice about these? What do you notice about x, 3x, and 2x? You should be screaming, they're like terms. And they are. You are correct. Yeah, they're like terms. Combine them. Really, you could say it's 6x. So that means 6 times x is 180. Okay? So this right here is multiplication, 6 times x. So our inverse operation is division. We're going to divide by 6 on both sides, which is going to tell us that our x value is 30. That means that this x angle is 30. It also means that this 2x angle is 2 times 30, or 60. It means that this 3x angle is 3 times 30, or 90. Okay? And remember, you can always pause and rewind. It's like one of the few benefits of this virtual learning. All right, so vertical relationships. Again, looking at this, what do I remember about vertical relationships? Oh, that's right. They are equal to each other. So what equation can help us? X equals 133. Boom, you're done. That's it. That's it. Okay, now, if it wasn't X, if it was, 6X equals 133, then maybe you're not done. But for right now, for these purposes, unless you're doing the challenge, you're good. Okay. So let's look at an example where you have supplementary and vertical relationships, and you're looking at this and you're like, Miss McCrowan, I hate you. And I know you love me with all your heart. I love you too. Anyway, I digress. You've got one angle that is 115 degrees. Dude, from that one angle, you can fill out X, Y, and Z. So let's start with the X, right? I want to figure out what this angle is right here. Well, let's see. Remember that X and that 115, those two angles, when you add them together, they have a supplementary relationship, right? Because they form that beautiful straight line there. So these are going to add to 180. So what equation can help us? Well, this X plus 115 is equal to 180. And then that means that X is equal to 65. Okay, so I could just fill in 65 there. I've now solved that for that variable, right? So I can just substitute that 65 there. I know that now. All right, well, what about the rest of it? What about Y and Z? So you already figured out the 65 part. Okay, you already did that. Now we're worried about Y and Z. Let's look at this. Well, notice your Z angle and your 115, they're vertical. They're across from each other in this beautiful X. And notice that your Y angle and your 65 are vertical. They're across from each other in this beautiful X. Dude, vertical angles are equal. So what does that mean? What does it mean? It means that if this is 115, then the Z is 115. It means that if if this is 65, the Y is 65. plug those bad boys into your angle, and there you go. Gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, flawless. Anyway, pause and rewind as needed. Go work on the boom cards. Let us know if you have any questions. I really encourage you to try the challenge if you're up for it. I love you so much, and I'll see you again soon. All right. Love you. Bye.